So pretty much every unit that we're going to do has a word problem component to it. You should be looking at your notebooks, gentlemen. So pretty much everything we do has a word problem part to it. So this is no exception. We have some greatest common factor word problems. Now, when you get to the milestone, you know that they're not going to say, hey, this is a greatest common factor word problem. This is an adding word problem. They're not going to say that. They're just going to ask you to solve it. So you need some strategies, and that's part of what we're going to work on today. And we'll be working on it pretty much through every unit. We'll talk a little bit about strategies for word problems. But today we're specifically going to talk about greatest common factor word problems. And I just want to tell you, some of you really love word problems, and some of you really hate word problems. The reason why you hate them probably is because you don't like to think logically. You're not a logical thinker. That's okay. Some people really just want to hear, like, step by step, do it this way, this way, this way. And that's what I'm going to help you with. But some of you can really logic through it and look at it. And I'm a real logical thinker. So to me, word problems are the best because they make sense. Where some other things, if you just randomly ask me to solve a problem, I don't really know why I'm solving it. But in word problems, you're able to think through them. So here are some hints. Now this you may or may not have framed in red yesterday or day before when we did this. So look, it's inside of your little doodle notes. Okay, you have this. So it says, circle all the important numbers. That's what we'll start with. Underline these words. And if I were you, I would take maybe a yellow crayon and I would highlight these words, because these are hints that you probably are looking at a greatest common factor word problem. They are greatest, most, and nothing left over, or none left over. So go ahead, if you'll highlight that real quick and draw the red box around. I'll give you a second to do that. All right, so these are the key words. Now you know that there are no absolutes in the world. So it's not every time you see the word greatest, it does not mean that you're going to have a greatest common factor problem. Generally, in the question, if the question uses the word greatest, that's the most likely scenario that it's going to be a greatest common factor question, or most. The one most people will miss is the third one, with nothing left over. So that's the one that you really kind of need to commit to memory. If it says how many with nothing left over, it's probably going to be a greatest common factor question. Okay, you're going to show all of your work on the paper that you're about to do, and then just check and see that your answer makes sense. So those are all kind of steps. So let's do this one. This one is in your notes. We're going to do it together. So let's read it together. It says, you are making goodie bags for a party. You have 36 pieces of 18 and 9. Okay. Each bag must have the same stuff in it. What is the greatest number of bags you can make? Okay, so first, let's circle the important numbers. Because sometimes there are numbers that are not important, but pretty much I think those three numbers are going to be important. So let's circle them. So circle 36, 18, and 9. Those are your important numbers. Okay? Now, we're going to underline where it tells us what kind of problem it is. So what word or words tell us what kind of problem it is? You can say it. Greatest. It's highlighted for you, right? So greatest. So greatest tells us we're probably going to have a greatest common factor question. All right, now, so the trick is at this point, we're going to have to find the greatest common factor of what numbers? 36, 18, and 9. Okay. Now, yesterday we didn't do any with three numbers, but we can do them with three numbers, and that's what we're going to do today. So let's make the cake for those three numbers: 36, 18, and 9. Okay. So here's our cake. So let's pick, what is the smallest number that 36, 18, and 9 go into? You can all say it because you know it. It's 3. Now, in order to be a common factor, it has to go into all three of the numbers when we have 3, not just 2 of them. So it has to go into all 3. Okay? So 3 goes into 36 how many times? And 18 how many times? 6. Oops, I almost put 9. You were right. 6, and how many times does it go into 9? 3. Okay, now, Do we still have a common factor between 12, 6, and 3?
2.
Okay, hold on. Wait till last. Okay, so we still have a common factor between all three. Now, here, this is very important. It has to go into all three of them. It has to go into 12, 6, and 3. So we can't use the number 2, right? Because it doesn't go into 3. Okay, but the number 3 does. So 3 goes into 12 4 times, goes into 6 2 times, and goes into 3 1 time. Do we have a common factor between 4, 2, and 1?
Yes, 1.
It's just the number 1. So 1 and done. So now we've made our cake. Okay? So the greatest common factor is going to be the number of bags that we can make. So the greatest common factor is 9. Remember, we got to multiply them. It's okay. We got to multiply them. It's 9. And I want you to label your answer, okay? So it's 9 whats? 9 bags, right? We can make 9 bags. Okay, so we've answered the question. We've said that the greatest number of bags you can make is 9. So you can have 9 people at your party. Now, just so you know, there actually is a whole lot more information on this screen. And you don't need to write this, but I just want to show it to you really quickly. There's a whole lot more information on this screen than just the 9 bags, just the greatest common factor. So I want you to think about this for a second. What does 36 represent? The number of gum, the number of pieces of gum. Does anybody know how many pieces of gum are going to go into each bag? It's up there. It's on the screen. 4 pieces of gum. How did you get that, Austin? How did you get 4 pieces of gum?
Because after we made the cake, at the bottom would be how many pieces of whatever candy was that we had would be put in the bag.
Right, because we took the 36 pieces that we started with, we divided it by the greatest common factor, which was 9, and that's how we came up with. So in other words, we had 9 bags sitting out there, and each one of them got 4 pieces, because that's what it says in the bottom. How many Tootsie Rolls are they going to get?
2.
2. And how many Sweet Tarts? 1. Very good.